All right, we're just going to do some more factoring. So I'm going to do 2 more examples here, and then we'll do some more examples in class. We're just got to keep practicing, so that's why this is there. We're doing more factoring. Okay, so let's do like we did before. 10x squared minus 13x minus 3. First step, GCF. Is there anything that goes into 10, 13, or negative 3? 3 is prime, so does 3 go into 13? Nope, so we're done. It's 1. Second step, A, B, and C. A is 10, not 10x squared, just 10. B is negative 13. Be careful of that. And C is negative 3. Magic X time. A times C goes up here, and B goes down here. A times C is negative 30, and B is negative 13. Last time this was 13 and 10, but that's not the case here. This time it's negative 15 and 2, and that's all because of negatives. Because negative 15 times 2 is negative 30, and negative 15 plus 2 is negative 13. Okay, time to do whichever one. So fast forward to the one you use, or only listen to grouping or box. You don't have to listen to both. At this point, you should have a choice of which one you prefer. Okay, if one's not working for you, see if the other one works for you. So grouping, we start by writing the problem, 10x squared minus 13x minus 3. Write the first term, write the last term, split the middle term by using the magic x numbers. Negative 15x plus 2x. And remember, you could have put 2x first and then the 15. It won't make a difference. Let's look at our 2 groups separately and see what we can pull out as a GCF. In the first group, we can pull out a 5 and an x. If I pull out a 5x, I'm left with 2. I almost forgot my x on that. 2x, because there's an x left behind. We only took one of them, minus 3. In the next group, what goes into 2x and negative 3? And don't tell me nothing. What is the greatest common factor if there's no other greatest common factor? It's 1. So this is a plus 1. That's all we pulled out of there. And then it's 2x minus 3. I put the plus 1 there so that we remember it's there. Otherwise, people will just write 5x, and that's not true. It's plus a 1. We pulled out the greatest common factor, and in this case, it was simply 1. Do our chunks match? Yes, they do. Whoop-de-doo. So now we write down our chunk. And we write down our leftover. Okay, we're done. We factored it. All right, box people. Top left goes our first term. Bottom right with the negative, watch your negative, goes the last term. Magic X splits the middle, and that's what goes here. Watch your negatives. Take your GCF of your first row. First row GCF is 5x. Don't take a negative there. In the next row, there's a 2x and a minus 3. Now, I'm a little concerned about that negative, but I think I'm going to deal with that later. But what goes into 2x minus 3? Well, if there is no other GCF, there is always a GCF. If there's nothing else, it's 1. And if you want to put a plus in front of that to remind you it's plus 1, you can do that. If nothing else, it's a 1. It's not a 0. In the first row, I don't need to worry about a negative because neither are negative. So I'm just going to take a 2x. And then in my last row, they're both negative. So because they're both negative, I'm going to take out a negative 3. And again, I can go back and check by multiplying each one by each one to see if it works. And my final answer is 5x plus 1 times 2x minus 3. That's my factors of this polynomial. Let's do one more example for this lesson. And again, I would only watch, if you've already decided box or grouping, I'd only watch the one that you like because there's no point in confusing yourself. First step, what's the GCF? There always is a GCF, you just have to figure out what it is. Is there anything that goes into 7, 34, and 5? No, so there is, so it's 1. So don't say there's no GCF, it's just the GCF is 1. A is 7, B is 34, and c is negative 5. Magic x is step 3. A times c goes up here, and b goes down here. This is negative 35, and this is 34. I will tell you whenever something like this comes up, there's really two factors here, 1 and 35, and 7 and 5. Well, 7 and 5 doesn't work. It's 1 and 35. One of the numbers has to be negative, and one of them has to be positive. Well, if I want a positive when adding them together, the smaller number needs to be negative. I always think that's the hardest magic x when 1 is involved, because we often forget that as a factor, 1 in itself. Okay, let's go to grouping. For those of you who are grouping, I'm going to rewrite so we can split that middle term, and then we'll go to box. So 7x squared plus 34x minus 5. Write the first term, write the last term, split the middle term using magic x. Now make sure you put your x's on them. Okay, let's look at our two groups. In our first group, only x can come out because 7 and 1 are both prime, so it's a 1x. I don't need to write the 1. I'm not going to. So it's 7x minus 1. Don't forget that minus 1. That doesn't just disappear. Because if we don't write that minus 1, then we only get 7x squared. We have to have that minus 1. In the next group, I'm going to take out a 5. So if I divide everything in there by 5, it's 7x minus 1. Whoop-de-doo, they match. It's annoying when they don't match because you made a mistake somewhere. Write your chunk. Write your leftovers. There's your factors of that polynomial that if we were to distribute or use FOIL, we would get that answer back. Box people, my box friends. Let's do our box. Top left. First term. Bottom right. Last term. Empty boxes, split the middle term using our magic x. Top row. Well, there's a negative in the top row, but we never pull a negative in the first row. So we don't worry about that negative yet. It's 7 and 1, and then x's, so only x can come out here. And if you want to put a 1 in front of it, you can, but I want you to get used to I'm going to stop putting 1s. We don't need them. In the second row, I only have one negative. I'm not going to worry about that yet. Okay? I'm going to take out a 5 here. I'm going to put a plus so I remember. First row, there's no negative, so I don't need to worry about it. I just need to take out a 7x. Here's where my negatives get taken care of. Negative 1. Don't be afraid of 1s. If there's no other greatest common factor, then the greatest common factor is 1 or negative 1. Don't be afraid of them. And there we go. There's our factors using the box method. Same answer, different order. I don't know why it keeps coming out in different order. Okay? Keep practicing.